First, let's give you an overview of what my MacBook is. So let's go to About This Mac and you will see what I'm working with. This is a MacBook Pro 13-inch, early 2011 as you can see. I have a 2.7 GHz dual-core Intel Core i7 processor. I did some modifications, of course. How is a 2011 working with a macOS Catalina? That's for another day. I also did some hardware modifications. I installed 2 sticks of 8 gig RAM, which gives me 16 gigabytes of random access memory. It's pretty good. Let's check out my storage here. My main disk, which is this top guy here, is a 256 solid state drive. The stock hard drive that comes with this was a 756 hard drive. Alright? You can see the memory here, 2 sticks of 8 gig RAM, and that's pretty much it. So what do you want to do first? We want to get the Windows 10 ISO file. And you can always go to the Microsoft download page, it's quite free, and you can select the edition of Windows 10 that you want. So we're going to go with Windows 10, we confirm that. Then we want to choose our language. I'm going to choose English. Then you confirm. 64-bit is what you want to go with. So you can start the download by clicking 64-bit download. I have already downloaded this, so I don't need to go through that process again. So let's cancel this guy. You will also want to download what we call the virtual box. All right? This will help you to download and use the Microsoft 10 operating system. So simple Google search, VirtualBox, this page will pop up, and we want to select the OS X hosts. Once this happens, then you start the download automatically. Now I'm going to go ahead and cancel this as well because I've already gotten it. So let's go over here. You really don't need this page anymore, so you can always click out of your browser. So on my desktop, I dragged over my files from the download section onto my desktop just for easy access. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do, you want to unpackage the VirtualBox, and this will come up. Now I've already ran this Windows 10 64-bit operating system. You can see here it is running. But for those of you who are just trying it out, let's go through the steps. So we want to start by going to New. Then we want to give it a name. So because I already have a Windows 10 here, I'm going to put Windows 10 Tutorial. I wonder if I can spell tutorial. There you go. This should automatically come up. Windows 10 here, Windows 10 64-bit. You can select from the operating systems that you want to run from this section here, but it automatically comes up to Windows 10. These are all of the operating systems as well that you can select from, but we're going to be working with Windows 10 64-bit today, so already was automatically selected. Now let's go ahead and go through. Continue. Now this section allows you to allocate the RAM space that you want this new operating system to work from. Now the minimum 2 gigabytes is quite fine. You can always go ahead and select how much gigs you want it to run. You can, you decide however much you want to run from that, but the minimum required for this particular setup is the 2 gig memory. So continue. This middle section here, create a virtual hard disk now. That is what you want to set up. Alright, now automatically the VirtualBox allocates 50 gigabytes of hard drive space. That is an automatic setup. You can go ahead and allocate however amount of gigabytes you want your hard drive space to allocate to this particular new operating system. So we're going to create we want to use the VDI VirtualBox disk image. These other guys here, they work, but not quite how we want it to work in this particular setup. So the first selection here, the VDI VirtualBox disk image, that's what we want to go with, and then we go to continue. We want the storage, the physical hard disk storage, to dynamically allocate the space. We don't want to have a fixed size. Alright, so dynamically allocate the space, which means it sees what it wants, it knows what it wants, then it chooses it automatically. Not that you set it and then it is rigid to that particular setting. Continue. Now here is where you can also allocate the amount of gigabyte storage you want for this particular setup. So this is what we're going to do. You can scroll across and allocate it as much as you possibly can, but the standard allocation is 50 gigabytes. I wonder if we can find that 50 right here. Alright. Okay, so let's work with 51. Can't find back the 50, but okay, 51.05 gigabytes, and that is basically all that is required. You can choose whatever you want, but the standard operation is for the allocation of a 50 gigabyte hard drive space, which would come from your original hard drive. Alright, now let's create. Now that that's done, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to settings. Good. Now this is a Windows tutorial, Microsoft Windows, Windows 10. We want to go to systems. We're just checking around. We're going to the display. We're going to storage. There's really not much that you can configure from here because it's automatically set. Alright? Good. All systems seems to be in place. Alright, so we click OK and the settings are fine. Now let's go to start. In this particular section, what you're going to do, remember that ISO file that you downloaded, which would be the Windows 10 64-bit ISO file. It's quite a big file, as you can see here. It's 5.05 gigabytes. You want to come here. Alright, then you go add, and then it will automatically bring up the pop-up screen for you to select your Windows 10 64-bit file, and it will add it right here. Now all you have to do is just click this guy and it comes right up here. Now we can start. Now as you can see, Windows is going to do what it does best and set up on your MacBook. The greatest thing about this is that it works on almost all MacBook models. This VirtualBox setup works on almost all MacBook models. You don't have to do much. You just watch it work and you will see just exactly how it does what it does best. Now here we go. Install language English, time and currency format, English United States, keyboard setup, English. Now we're going to go to install now. Might take some time. It's an operating system setup, so it might take some time. Now we do not have a product key just yet, so we're going to select I don't have a product key. In this section, it gives you all of the particular features of the Windows 10. So we have home, home N, home single language, education, going on and on. So we're going to download the Windows 10 Pro. We're going to set up the Windows 10 Pro feature, and we're going to select next. Of course, I accept the license and the terms agreements. We go to next. We can always do this top section here, but we're going to go to custom install just to see the allocation of the disk space. just to see that everything is okay. And then we go to next. Of course, this window is a famous window. It's copying the files, it's getting the files ready, and after that it will install the features, install the updates, and then it's finished. This section will run quite some time depending on your processing speed, so we will see where this takes us afterwards. and welcome to your Windows 10 on a MacBook Pro or a MacBook operating system, because I surmise that it can go onto any MacBook that there is. MacBook Pro, MacBook Retina, MacBook Air, you name it. So here you are. And this is actually a web page. So it picks up the network activity from your original MacBook settings. So you don't have to be going around and getting a different internet and stuff like that. So this is an actual web page here. So here you go. Now, let us say, for instance, we're going to enter full screen. And I think it's because I'm recording, that is why it's a little bit jumpy. So we're going into full screen, and you can understand what is happening here. It's not in full screen mode. So what we want to do, we're going to go to devices, and we're going to go to insert guest addition CD image. What that does, it plugs in a particular setting. So we go to this PC, and then right down here you see this VirtualBox guest addition. We want to double click that. The screen recorder. Screen recorder took up the processing, so it got be slow. So we double click on that, and then we're going to try and find VirtualBox Windows Additions. We want to double click that as well. Say yes, not to the address. Next, next, install, and let it run. This is going to plug in some settings that will allow for better graphic use, better mouse use, and better keyboard use, integrated mouse use, integrated keyboard use, integrated graphic use. This particular message is saying, would you like to install this device? Yes, we want to install it. It's just an install within an install. Alright, what happens after this, it will restart the machine. In the initial phases of the install, you will see your screen blanking like this. It's quite normal. It is just setting itself up for the graphic section of things. Then it will ask you to restart or to reboot at a time convenient to you, but we're going to reboot it now so that you can see the effect of the install that we just did. And again, this is one of the greatest things with this VirtualBox Windows 10 operating system. You do not have to restart your complete machine like you would if you used a boot camp assistant, which comes stock with the MacBook machines. So it's because it's a VirtualBox, it is totally independent on some side of things. It is not independent of your hard drive, it is not independent of your RAM, it is not independent of anything else, really. But in terms of shutting it down, starting it up, it is independent of your machine rebooting each time to go into the particular drive that the Windows 10 operating system is on. Okay? It will still look this way, but if you give it some time, you will see the change in the screen mechanism. And there you go. So you no longer have those two black things at the side. The screen is fully, fully and completely taking up all of the screen size. All right. So again, here is a great thing. Mac users, we just use fingers on our keypad. If we have a full screen up, we can just slide it across and it brings up another window that is already up. Here goes. Mac OS, Windows 10. Mac OS, Windows 10. And it operates completely independent of things that you want to do. So here we go, we're going to go to start menu. Now of course we do not have a start button on our MacBook chassis, so we're just going to have to click start. Alright, we can shut it down, we can do anything that we want to do with it. We can install applications, we can install programs for Windows machines, and it is completely independent of your MacBook operating system. Again, on this side of the screen, MacBook operating system. On this side of the screen, it's Windows 10. So that's basically how you install Windows 10 on your MacBook. Whatever MacBook that you have, all you need to do is to get the ISO file from Microsoft. Then you get the virtual box. You follow these instructions and then you should be good to go. Now, where the product keys are concerned, of course, if you have a product key already, you can plug that in, which is for MacBook, which is for Windows 10. If you do not have a product key, you can go to the Microsoft site and purchase a product key, and that should do it. But for now, everything seems fine. I had one running before, so I'm just going to delete this guy and continue with the setup that I had before. This was only done as a tutorial to show you guys that it is possible to run a Windows 10 operating system on a MacBook operating system